gonna have to work out.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Wallace? Here. Mr. Rosenberg?
Here.
Mr. Klein?
Here.
Mr. Barbarulo?
I'll have a second again.
Mr. Banta?
Here.
Mrs. Frankel?
Every meeting I'm stuck here.
Mrs. Piella?
Here.
Mr. Spindell?
Present.
Ms. Barbarulo?
Here. Please join me for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Fair Lawn Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, and sent to the Bergen Record and the Community News. The announcement for the public hearing and a public budget hearing and adoption meeting, along with the date, place, and time thereof, was distributed on March 4th, 2015. The items to be discussed during the closed work session of April 30th, 2015 may include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations and/or grievances, tactics and techniques utilized in protecting public safety and property. The results of these discussions will be made public as soon as possible. Get that on slide. Okay, I'd like to introduce Shelley Dansky, who is president of the Bergen County School Board Association, and I'd like to welcome you tonight, and you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. In my role as Bergen County Schools Association president, I visit districts throughout Bergen County. I have visited more than half at this point, and hopefully we'll visit the remaining half in the next 2 years. However, I only come by invitation. I don't crash meetings, so thank you for inviting me. And actually, you are the first district that I am visiting for a second time. So you're one of the first districts that I visited, and you are the first district that I'm visiting for a second time because I will always come when invited. So although I've been here before, I'm happy to come again because some of you I may not know, and some of you I may as new board members. So I appreciate the invitation. It's nice to see a lot of familiar faces. I am on the board of ed in River Edge. I've been on that board, this is my 25th year on that board, and I've asked Mr. Marcellus permission to give you this piece of information, but he and I were on the Board of Education in River Edge together. At the end of his tenure there, he tries not to let you know that he was a former board member, yes, but I'm going to spill the beans on that. So at the end of his experience as a board member, at the beginning of mine, Jim and I served on the River Edge board together. So we're happy to. And I think we may have also shared that some of my children may have had you as a teacher.
They didn't, but I think.
But you know them. Well, that's good and bad. I'm not sure. But so I feel very at home in Fair Lawn. So I just want to tell you a little bit about what we have coming up in terms of Bergen County, and also hopefully get some feedback from you. And if you're not prepared to give me feedback tonight, I will also let you know how to reach me, and you're always welcome to reach me at any time. So we have 5 meetings a year. In the past, we've had 3 at Maggiano's and Hackensack and 2 in schools, but this upcoming year, we probably will have them all at Maggiano's. We've been able to get grant funding to do at least 4, and we're hoping 5 of our meetings there, and we get better attendance when we have our meetings there. So we are trying our best to have all of our meetings there, and it is centrally located in the county, so people can get there easily, and they can park easily, and it works well for everyone. So we will have a calendar published shortly, because on May 5th, which is an upcoming meeting, where I expect to see many people from Fair Lawn, we will be planning next year's meeting dates as well as next year's meeting topics. At the May 5th meeting, we have an executive committee meeting following the regular meeting, and so we will be planning those things. But I really would like your feedback, because we plan those meetings based on feedback we get from local boards. I can tell you that we will be doing our first meeting as a joint meeting with Passaic County School Boards Association. We did the first meeting last year as a joint meeting, and we hosted. This year they are hosting, so we will be at the Brownstone. for our first meeting, and because that's where they hold their restaurant meeting, and topic to be determined. So that's something we can talk a little bit about, and then we will have 4 additional meetings. One of those will be a breakout meeting, which we've done before, where we have different levels of instruction, so that if you're a new board member, we will have opportunities for those people to have instruction on their level. We will have something for board leadership, board vice presidents and presidents, and then we will have one other topic. Something I wanted to tell you about that's new, aside from the 5 meetings that we generally do, and it started this year, is a board president's breakfast. In March, and earlier in March, we had the first president's breakfast in Bergen County, because I felt that it was important for board leadership throughout the county to get together, because superintendents meet as a group, business administrators meet, guidance supervisors meet, principals meet. The only leadership group that was not meeting in the county was board presidents. So we held our first board president's breakfast, held it in Riverbridge because I had easy access to those schools, and it was very, very successful and well attended, and we will do those again. We will also probably open it to board vice presidents, because we had a lot of feedback saying, you know, a lot of times the board vice presidents are next in line to be board presidents in many districts, and so it would be good for them to get that experience and training as well. So look for that information as well. We hope you'll join us at that those events. We probably will do more than one, because we did have, somebody said we should do them monthly. I said, no, thank you. That won't fit into my calendar, but we will do them a couple of times a year. So, and you should be getting emails from me. If you're not getting emails from me through New Jersey School Boards Association, then please let New Jersey School Boards Association know. I actually write those, do send them, so if there's something I want board members in Bergen to be aware of, or something I want to share with you, I do filter all my information through New Jersey School Boards Association. So if you're not getting those emails, make sure that you do, because it's my only way to access every board member in the county. So at this time, I invite you to give me feedback with things you've been happy about, things you've been unhappy about, because we can always do better. And we certainly want to give board members throughout the county what they're looking for. Because if we don't, then our attendance is not what it should be. And it's not what it should be anyway. I mean, we have the most districts. We have 77 districts in Bergen. So, you know, you can do the not so simple math. 5 members, 7 members, 9 members, times 77 districts. We should have several hundred people at our meetings, and we average about 125. Yes.
First of all, I'm our board's rep to Bergen County School Boards, and I have to say that we usually have a majority of our board there at every, which is very impressive for us.
I agree, and absolutely, I don't have to give a pitch to this board about attendance, because you are well represented at every meeting, and I appreciate that.
I think that the thing that's most helpful to me is the legislative updates that are given. I was very disappointed at our legislative meeting because the legislators weren't there. And so that was very, very, very disappointing. But as far as the updates, I think that they're very, very helpful in communication with the board, because knowing what's going on in Trenton and what the feel of school boards is, of where it's going, certainly helps us as a board.
It does, I agree, and it's not from lack of an invitation that we didn't have attendance. We invite every legislator. They all had someplace else to be. It was turned out to be a big fundraising night, and we set these meeting dates a year in advance, so we have no way of knowing what's going to be happening on their calendars, but certainly the year before, and I know you were there as well, we had many, many legislators, so it's kind of a hit or miss thing, and I apologize for not having more, but I was really disappointed.
It was just because there's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on, and I will tell you that at the meeting on May 5th, Mike Kelber from the New Jersey School Boards Association will be discussing something really important, which are the advisory opinions that have come through the Ethics Commission. Now, the Ethics Commission did not provide any advisory decisions for many, many, many years. They have to be fully appointed. They are an appointed group, and they have to be fully appointed. There has to be a full complement of members on that commission in order for them to issue advisory opinions. and for one reason or another, and I'm not going to pretend to know what the reasons are, but for one reason or another, they did not have a full gathering of members of the Ethics Commission for a number of years, and so there were no advisory opinions. Now that they do have a full board, essentially, they have issued many, many advisory opinions, and some of them affect boards dramatically. And one of them is who can participate in negotiations, because it used to be that only if you had I'm going to say NJSBA because that just floats out of my mouth. NJEA affiliation, either family-wise or yourself, you couldn't participate, but now that's been expanded tremendously. And the feeling is that within a year, no one who has any labor affiliations at all will be able to participate. And so there are a lot of advisory opinions. I know it will affect boards dramatically. So that's one of the advisory, that's just one of the advisory opinions that will affect all boards. So, so that's going to be a major issue.
That's really huge.
It is huge. And so Mike Pelver will discuss that and many others. And there are others that are equally mind-boggling. So,
I am the only one.
so you're going to be a board of one person. You're the only non-conflicted board chair.
I think it's any revenue.
Or any union affiliation.
At some point, they're thinking that it may be extended to that. But
No
Mike
one's
will
gonna be
go-
able
Unions outside of NJEA?
Yes. Oh, yeah, it's gone way beyond.
Private
it's gone way
Retired
beyond- yes.
people, retired,
I just-
I don't know.
Is there anyone?
I'm not a lawyer and I don't even pretend to be one. So I won't answer those questions for you, but I can tell you that they will be answered on the fifth.
Is there anyone?
Don't you just get a document of necessity then and move on?
You probably can, but though, what I'm saying is that there are a lot of things that are happening in terms of the Ethics Commission that are going to affect boards that most board members are not yet aware that they have been brought forth. So that's something that you will hear about on the 5th. So that, although it's not by a legislator, those legislative things, those legislative actions are very important and will be discussed on the 5th. So,
We'll be there.
so you'll be there,
And thank
exactly.
you for coming.
So, is there anything else in particular, any subject matter that we're not touching on?
Mary?
It isn't that, but I would like to take the opportunity, particularly to acknowledge our school board's rep, Al.
Oh, Alan Nunziato, yes.
He has really gone above and beyond, and we twice a year we have board retreats, because next Tuesday night we're going to recognize the master board. And Al has tailored every one of our board retreats specifically to the needs that we have revealed in the board retreat before. Al has looked at all of that, he's talked with us, and he said, you know, we've specifically tailored everything. So I just couldn't let any opportunity go by, not to say something about it. He's really outstanding.
Yeah, I would agree. Al is our the Bergen County Field Service rep,
Oh.
and he services all of the districts in Bergen as well as some other district outside of Bergen. And so you have figured out, Farallon has figured out how to be the squeaky wheel, because only boards that have figured that out get Al's attention, because you can imagine, although he tries to service 77 districts plus, you have figured out that, you know, you can invite him and he will work with you, and he's amazing. He is terrific. You feed him? Is that how you get him here? That's a good plan. Is there any subject matter that you feel is important that we're not addressing? Yes.
And this is not just the school board's problem, but it's everything. Bergen County, the largest district in the state,
Yes.
and we are treated like, you know, a stepchild.
By whom?
By the legislature, not by school boards, but I think that, you know, maybe we could be more of a driving force. We're so big. I don't know how you do it.
I can tell you one way.
Yeah.
Delegate assembly. Okay, the delegate assembly, and I have no idea if you regularly send a representative there or not, but if you do not, I would urge you to do so, because the delegate assembly is the organization, the legislative, if you will, organization of New Jersey School Boards Association. 77 districts in Bergen, usually 20 districts represented, if we're lucky, at delegate assembly. If we had good, strong representation at the delegate assembly, and it's on May 16th, it meets twice a year. It meets in November and in May. So May 16th, it will meet, And if we had strong representation from Bergen at the delegate assembly, we could pass any resolution that was brought forth. But unfortunately, we don't have strong representation. And so part of my agenda when I come to visit boards is to urge people to participate actively in the delegate assembly, because that's where the representative.
Where's it usually held?
It's held at Mercer Community College usually.
Would there be a way, even with our poor showing, to have a meeting further north that would be more?
It's held in a central, believe it or not, that's centrally located in the state.
In Mercer?
And so that's why it's held
Geographically, yes, but
geographically. But it's not by,
Capital-wise.
yes, but it's done centrally located for travel purposes. Because there are people traveling from as far south as there are people from Sussex County, there are people from further south in Ocean County. What's a county further south? 21 counties, you have to accommodate lots and lots of people. So.
Okay, so that you think that if we made a concerted effort as the county, to be down there and do this?
I do.
Because just when they figure out these formulas for funding, state aid, and, well, you're rich, you don't need it, or they figure out when we're doing an expansion on a school, and they're giving us these ridiculous numbers of how much it costs a square foot. Well, maybe that's what it costs in farm country, but not in Bergen County.
Correct.
And there's no changing their mind about it. That's the kind of thing I'm talking
Right.
about.
And so there's a very large governmental relations department at New Jersey School Boards Association. And just to clarify, I'm not an employee of New Jersey School Boards Association.
No, I know.
I'm a volunteer just like you, so I can take back everything you're saying, but I agree with you completely that we're at a disadvantage in that there are things that are different about the northern part of the state than other parts of the state, and people in the southern part of the state would argue the same thing. It's sort of like we're fighting the Civil War in the state of New Jersey, because the needs and the concerns of some parts of the state are very different than other parts of the state. But the only way to get the agenda, if you will, of this part of the state taken care of and addressed is to have a voice. And the only way to have a voice is to show up and to show up in large numbers. Because
Fun
there
fact, we were one of the few northern states that voted for McClellan, so.
Thank you for the, thank you for
Thank you for the history lesson, right?
Big fan of fun facts.
So I don't know that that's a simple answer to a
Right,
complicated
no, I mean, it's
comment,
a
but
start.
it's a start,
Yeah.
that's exactly right.
Thank
It's
you.
a start because, I regularly attend those, and I'm not the rep from our district, our school district, because I have asked someone else to be the rep. Because I can't, I'm not gonna do this forever, contrary to popular belief. So I had to make sure that somebody else started doing that and get trained and learn what that's all about. And so, but I still attend, because anyone can attend, but the district only gets one person who can vote. So, it's very interesting, and I urge you to participate.
Shelley, I very much want to be able to make a good recommendation to get other people involved, but first I need to have a better understanding of why other school boards are so uninvolved with either Bergen County or New Jersey school boards. What do we hear from them in terms of why they don't respond to emails or why they don't show up at county meetings? Maybe if we understood that a little more, we could understand how to bring them to us.
We've done several surveys to see if we can get a handle on that. There are a number of districts that feel as if they know everything they need to know. That's one piece of it. There are other districts that don't want to travel, which is why somebody like bringing Al in works so well, because if you don't have to go anywhere but you bring the person in, that always works better. Sometimes that's an issue and a problem for districts, is that there's lots of training. There's training all the time. There's training every single month of one kind or another. There's lots of online training. But whether or not you choose to avail yourself of that, that's really an individual decision. But as far as, boards have cultures. You all know that, if you've been on your board for any length of time, even a couple of years, you know that every board has its own culture. And in some boards, the culture is to stay well informed, stay well educated, stay involved, participate in lots of different things. And in other boards, the culture is to be very insulated and isolated. And how to break through that culture, I haven't figured that out yet, but I'm working on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm not sure if that is a good answer, but
No, I mean, it's the best it could be answered, I would imagine.
yeah, for now. So, I just want to let you know where to reach me, how to reach me. You can always reach me through New Jersey School Boards Association, through the county area. Right now, it's Kurt Rabovich, who's the county activities coordinator. Kurt got a new job in the association, so we're not losing him, but we are losing him as our county coordinator. So he's going to be working in governmental relations, or labor relations, one of those departments. And so we will have a new county coordinator as of July 1st, but I don't know who that's going to be yet. If anybody wants that job. Big tough job. They're advertising now. And so you can reach me through there. Also, I'm going to give you a couple of phone numbers. My cell number is 201-317-0808. I'm really good with texting. I'm really good with phone calls on my cell. Just let me know who you are if you text me. Because, yeah, 201-317-0808. It's best to email me through Kurt because it will get lost in my personal email otherwise. So email me through Kurt, but use my cell phone. I'm going to give you my home number, and I will tell you if a male person answers, wait for the answering machine. Do not give him a message because he is not reliable giving me messages. And he knew I was going to say that, so it's okay. But my home number is 201-265-2784. And I think I may have said here before that it's a landline that's listed in the paper phone book. And there is still such a thing, and I actually have a landline. So, by all means, but none of my children do. They all have cell phones. They don't. Not one of them has a landline. But please, feel free to reach out to me anytime at all with questions or with comments, with information that I can take back to. It's not my association. It's your association. I'm just representing you. So I look forward to seeing you next week. And you'll forgive me if I don't stay for your budget presentation because I have to go home and work on ours. So,
Thank you very, very
you're
much.
so
for
welcome.
taking the time
That's
to come
okay.
out.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
See you in
Have a
the
good
meeting.
meeting. Okay, see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheila.
Bye-bye.
Kelly.
Thank you.
See you.
Expecting me. Yes. Late list.
Okay, board comments. Okay, we're going to move on to the public hearing on the 2015-2016 budget.
Okay, just a point of order. Very careful when you do this. So we advertise 7:30, so we really should wait till 7:30. So if you don't mind, well, no, I can do a couple of comments.
Yeah,
I don't
sure,
have a lot,
okay,
but
that's fine.
you can also go to the agenda and vote on certain items if you want to get them.
We got 5 minutes. Why don't you do your comments?
Yeah, I think most of my comments are for the main meeting. I will tell you that I got a call from our athletic director that the boys' baseball team is playing Valley today.
Yes, very good.
And we now have a guaranteed share of the league title.
Guaranteed tie, yeah.
We beat Wayne Hills, we get an outright lead, right? And I think it's the first time in about 7-8 years that.
Long time.
It's been a long time, so that's pretty exciting for those who like sports.
It was a great place, so.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So get out of home place.
I wish I was there. I love the
Great, it was a
Reds.
great game.
So that's good. Let me take this moment to comment. First of all, on the agenda, there are not 2 but 3 merit authorization for paying the superintendent. And when the governor changed all of this, superintendents, or at least this superintendent, you realize one thing. One, you never get anything done in a district without having a team approach. It's impossible. No one person gets anything done. So when it came to putting the superintendents on the line, which is embarrassing to have to go and ask to get paid, kind of. I made it very clear that the only way you would get a merit pay is by working with people in the district for goals that are going to improve either student achievement or some aspect of the district. So I just want to make a public statement that I want to say thank you, first of all, for the board's understanding of this awkward way of doing things that was imposed on us. I also want to reach out and thank the many, many people, teachers, the administrators, many of them sit in the room, the teachers I personally worked with on committees, et cetera, that come together who jump up and say, you know, we're in, that's a great goal, we'll help. And that's special. And I want to say thank you to everybody, central office, building administration, district administration, and faculty over the last 3 years that have jumped on board as committees and said, you know, we're there, this is a worthwhile goal, et cetera. So I just wanted to make that thank you comment to everybody. You have a resolution on here to adopt the budget, which we'll be seeing in a minute. I will preface before I stand up, there are 102 slides. Let me make the comments first. First of all, I'm not going to talk to 102 slides. Two. Yeah. Here's a very special delivery. One is that it's been my personal belief that when you get to a public budget hearing, I think it should be the most comprehensive document under one cover. And this, I believe, is. And obviously, a lot of people have worked hard. Nobody does this alone. The board has put a lot of effort into what you see. You work with us, the faculty, a lot of the administration, and certainly the central office with all the work they've done. So I want to take this moment while I have a couple of minutes and thank everybody. But this document is not only comprehensive about Fair Lawn Schools, it will be up on their website starting Monday. And it's a comprehensive document, it's a transparent document. Anybody who wants to know about Fair Lawn Schools can go to this one document and they can see curriculum, programs we support, special education, cost of transportation. They can certainly look at where we're going and hiring of personnel, how much we're expanding it, programs, building programs, etc. So you can see where the money is, how it's being spent, and what we're getting for it. There are charts with taxes, where we stand in relation to the 70 municipalities, in comparison to test scores and how our kids have done, compared to some of the I group, which you'll see, which is the wealthiest and the highest performing group. How do we fare against them? So it's meant to be the most comprehensive document someone can sit down and go through and learn at one sitting, if they want to spend the time, what's going on in that particular school district. So that's what it is. I will not, I won't obviously take you and talk about 102 slides, but I will run through it quickly. I will stop at certain slides that I believe are fit to be discussed in a public budget hearing. But I'll just give you a taste of them, and if anybody here or outside ever wants to look at all the slides that we do, they can certainly have that document in front of them at any time. It'll be on the website. So having said that, it's 7:30. Let me jump up here. What's up, Matt? How you doing? Okay, so as that's warming up, again, for those people who just came in, I just spent a couple of minutes thanking everybody. We have what I believe is an outstanding school district. When you see some of these things on the slides, I think you will agree. And it's all because of everybody in this room plus. I think we've got the best administration team in the state of New Jersey. I think we've got the best Board of Education in the state of New Jersey. Fairlawn's got a lot of great things going for it. So, having said that, let's take a quick look and run through this. So, we are tonight presenting the 2015-16 budget. The board will vote on it when I'm done presenting it in a public setting. And so we're going to see what does it give us. Well, first of all, the nice thing I can tell you is that everybody in every program that we have presently stays. We are under a lot of challenges, as everybody knows, with caps, with different types of restraints. Obviously, the amount of state aid has depleted, hasn't gone up, and we're able to work together district-wide and maintain what we have and add a little bit, and I'm saying a little bit, because there's long-term plans in here, which the board knows that we've been working on, and we clearly are working very, very hard on managing ourselves to try to get to the point where we will be offering full-day kindergarten, which is a major expense in this district. So that's the challenge. So as you go through this document, you're going to see we have a district mission statement. There are superintendent goals and statements about effective teachers and effective principals and administrators. There are core beliefs that are stated through this document. There are two overarching goals, and every goal in this district is written under the umbrella. So when you're doing building goals, if you're doing goals down in the classroom, etc., it comes under either success for each and every student, and then there's a big definition of what I mean by that. So if you would like to read it, you can. It goes on for a few pages. We talk about high-level learning. And the other one is quality and continuous improvement. So those are the two overarching umbrella goals that we have brought together in this district, now district-wide. I'm very pleased to say that no matter what school a family goes and moves and buys a home, their child is going to be getting the same opportunity in every school, exposure to the same curriculum. That is a great achievement when you have multiple schools to be able to say that. Okay, so the first slide in the numbers, and we'll spend a lot of time, it's called the net cap worksheet. All this does is it tells us, if we look at all the forms of revenue that's available to us under the state law, it will give us a maximum of money coming in to support our expenditures. Usually our expenditures are higher, and therefore then we start going through the process in the central office of all of us working together and saying, okay, where do we have to reduce to make sure that we get the budget on the expenditure side to equal that on the revenue side, so we do that. Now, here's just a good look. Our budget is a little over $91 million to run this district. We have 10 buildings and a lot of services. If you look at it as a revenue, you will see that we are a minimum aid district, which means the majority of the funding to run Fair Lawn Public Schools comes from local taxation. And that's a challenge, because nobody likes paying taxes. I don't know anybody jumping up and down and saying, "Give me a tax increase." And then you'll see the other forms of revenue coming in from state aid, from tuition we collect, summer school tuition, fund balance that the board appropriates out of its bank account each year that we have gathered and saved to keep taxes down. So that's a chart that you might want to look at. This further breaks it down into a spreadsheet if you're a spreadsheet person. We have 5 funds in our budget. The largest fund is the general account expense, which is this gray one. Special schools debt service, which is the mortgage on our buildings that just went up with the passing of our brand new referendum. So that is what's causing a little bit of an increase in the tax side. Special revenue and capital outlay, which is all of the building remodeling, etc., that we do, and it gives the capital reserve fund, which is all part of that, which just comes under a different definition. So the general fund is where most of our money is spent, over $84.8 million out of the 91, and that is all directly related to the classroom and to education itself. So you can see how much money we spend out of our budget directly into the classroom. And that includes, by the way, lighting the classroom, cleaning the classrooms, etc. Not only teaching, etc., personnel. Again, it's another spreadsheet. If you're into this, you can take a look at the funds and how they've changed from one year to the next. This is the expenditure side. I like visuals. I think people respond better to visuals. And if you look at this, you can see how we spend our money at the same 91.3 million. And if I would run my protractor on and turn it from here, the purple line, all the way around to the yellow line, all of that is personnel costs, direct personnel costs. So we are a people business, schools are, and you can see how it is. The funding goes to that. And these other sections on how we spend our money, we have regulations that we have to follow, we have mandates that we have to follow, we have to have external and third-party overseers such as board attorneys who give us advice and counsel, auditors, federal, state laws we follow, that's all in there. Then we add into there professionals and therapies that we have for our students. Little slices, repair and maintenance. You see how we have to budget that and be very careful. Contracted services, and this has been mostly transportation right here, so we spend a lot of money in transportation. And other travels, the money in there for the board to go to the board convention in October, etc. So that's all in that pie shape, that large one. Structural supplies is this little bluish purple, whatever. Non-instructional supplies. Utilities is here, so it's very important that we run, and we continue to run with one of the board goals on energy saving, cost savings in our energy, because we don't have a whole lot to spend, so we have to keep that under control. Textbooks, workbooks, etc. is the tiny little sliver. You know, so that's what we spend in that area. It's unfortunate we only have that money, but we do a lot of supplemental pieces of text. We do a lot of online stuff now, so that comes out of technology. And then we have miscellaneous money here, which has some technology in it, like I just was saying. Grant monies go here, and your debt service, you can see that's got, last year was a little skinnier. Now we passed a referendum, we've got money coming out, and we became a little bit thicker to spend. So that's how we're spending the money. It looks easy up here. Putting the document together is not as easy as the board knows. All right, so what does that mean money-wise or numbers-wise? Well, here's a little look at Fair Lawn in different ways. Out of these particular districts, this is the amount of spending for classroom instruction. So in Fair Lawn, we spend about 59% of our budget goes to, which I showed you before, right to the classroom spending. Teaneck spends 61, Cresco 62, Ridgewood is 58.9, even with us. And then you have the other districts here. Bergenfield spends a lot, Park Ridge. So these are percentages of the budget spent, and they were the highest. So we took that chart to share with you. So we're right there with our focusing in on classroom spending. The ratio of students to the number of administrators and teachers in the district. Fair Lawn, we have 191 students. Broken out to each one of the administrator in the district. This happens to be that. Administration, Northern Highlands 126, Ridgewood 227, Paramus is 172. So again, it gives us somebody a little comparison on how we're doing things here, and you know, employment opportunities, or we're holding them down, etc. Here, Park Ridge, small district, they have 97 for each administrator. Northern Valley is 110. So we're doing pretty good. This budget will cause the following. We have an average assessed home in Fair Lawn of $325,322, including the referendum. This budget, by the way, if you look at the budget, it's actually gone down. And this budget actually is going to run a month of an increase in that average home tax bill of $9.46 a month, or annually $113. If you look at the last few years, in 2009-10, the budget caused a $15 per month cost to the average homeowner. And as you can see over the years, we've been able to start bringing it down. And here we have been doing very well. And now, obviously, with the referendum, it went up to 946, which is still an outstanding number to have all of that together. That's just a chart of the total taxes. So you can see here, the original budget in 2014-15 and the proposed. So we went up a little over 2.2 million. And again, part of that is you got 1.5 million going into the debt service account. So it's a lot of increase with your money. Now this is a very interesting chart, because I'll get a lot of calls from people who will tell me that, they're not happy with taxes and the schools are at fault, et cetera. So I send them this chart. And this chart was put together by the Bergen Record. And we have 70 municipalities, and where do we stand on an average tax bill in town? Well, here we are. And again, you can present numbers in different ways, and I think we probably know how to do that, but this is just a chart coming out of the Bergen Record that's saying here's your average taxes. And we finish or stand about 28th in the county when you compare median taxes in the community. Pretty good job. Okay, so what do we have for new staff in the budget? Not very much this year. We have budgeted for a Chinese teacher, which will most likely go to Lincrest or some fashion. We have an elementary, we put up Radburn, depending on how the enrollments all wash out come the end of August, that position sometimes moves to another building, it all depends. Right now we have the focus there, so we have one elementary position, a Chinese teacher, a half of a resource room for a forest, that's specific for special ed and forest. We have a lunchroom aide for Memorial Middle School, and we have 6-period adaptive phys ed at TJ, and we have those budgeted, so there's your cost for $25,000 for those two. And we have in the budget one full-time Google specialist. We have, as you know, this year we started with a very nice plan. It's worked out. We started a part-time program with the Google teaching of the teachers. The board, thank you, was very supportive. Matter of fact, you kind of pushed me, and you said, Bruce, we want more than that. And we were able to double that amount of time for the second half of the year. We beat our goal from 30% of the teachers getting trained to 46% of the faculty getting trained. Next year, full-time position, we'll be able to really go out and do some great things with that position. So I got to give all the credit to the board for that one. It was kind of disappointed, but I didn't have that in the budget, if you recall. So thank you for your input on that one. All right, now there's a number of slides, Education Committee, you'll recognize these, but there are slides talking about everything under the sun that this budget is going to be supporting come next year. So we have educational technology. Again, you can take time to read all of this. It talks about everything we're supporting. It goes on right down to the Google Apps and Google the Classroom. We have remediation programs in here. We have the first year of the BSK ELL program that we had a lot of success going through this year. That was a creation. It was really a throw out from the basic skills kindergarten. Last year went so well with the data, so we tried this year with the ELL program, which worked well. Great teacher, by the way. Great teacher. She's done a great job. Health and safety, there's some things here, people interested in the health and safety curriculum. It's here. What are we buying for the railroad fitness, to driver education instruction? Classroom side, we're still funding all of these things. Now we get into the educational programs. There are 22 AP programs. That is, pretty static, depending on enrollment, etc. But right now we're budgeting for 22. There are field trips in the budget, which we lost 4 years ago. They're back in. A lot of good things. Specifically, the next two slides will go to literacy. It talks about all the great things that we're doing in literacy. And thank you again. Years ago, we made a recommendation to put a literacy specialist down in the elementary schools, and it's worked wonderful for us over the years. We did that with math. It worked wonderful for the years we've had it. And matter of fact, Mr. Klein and I were talking today about some of the needs in the elementary science area. And I had said I've been trying to get a science specialist down in the elementary grades, but it's been rather difficult since we went through that big loss of, we still don't have our elementary librarians, and and then when you think you have it, other things pop up, and it's always, do we do this or do we do that? How do we get those things done? But we're on it. We're going to improve it. We have a plan to improve the science program. We can't make everything great at the same time. So math and literacy were the first two we attacked about 10 years ago. We started with the literacy. Math came right after that, and then we started adding these specialists, and it's worked great. elementary teachers have the toughest job as far as trying to be an expert in all those disciplines. It's very difficult. Our subject supervisors, and some of them are here in the room with us, they're K-12, but how much can they spend in the elementary and they're running high school and middle? So those specialists are key to this district, and we're positioned quite well. And we're also positioned in another area, which I'm going to show you, which is a complement to the board support, and that's in technology in this district, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So you got these two literacy slides. You can see what we're supporting in the budget, but what's the evidence that it's working? All right, everybody in this room understands district factor grouping, right? We had just completed this last year, our last testing in the HESPA at the high school and the New Jersey ASP. So that's the data we have. We don't have the PARC data yet because we're involved in that right now. But if you understand district factor grouping, you'll understand that there's a correlation with test score, performance, and wealth. Okay? That's not me saying it, it's research. It's documented all over the place, including the Commissioner of Education's report back in, I think it was somewhere around 2004, 2003. So, just for a comparison, rather than talk about DFG groups, state, what I did was we put together and compared the outcome of the very last NJS per grade level between Fair Lawn students and the I districts, the wealthier districts. And that's a very good bookmark right there. Fair Lawn is in red, and the I districts are in blue. So this starts out with grade 3 language arts literacy, and each slide is broken down in total students, general ed students, special ed students, Black or African American, Hispanic, and Latino. And those are the subgroups that the state asks us to report on. So we're showing you, so you can see 3rd grade, here's 4th grade language arts, here's 5th grade language arts. And by the way, this chart is a cohort moving through from 2012, Fair Lawn students, 2012, grades 3, 4, and 5, so the students are in grade 3 here, grade 4 here, and they go to grade 5 here, right? Because that's another way we want to look at our students. And you can see, by looking at these charts, just when the Common Core really started hitting districts, because this chart is very similar throughout the state. You'll see the dip starting big time in 2013, because a lot of questions from Common Core were really thrown into the New Jersey ASK, and many of us were not prepared for those types of questions. So you can see the little dip, and that's your language arts here. So you got special ed and general ed, the same students moving through. But even with that, you can see they're holding their own. The dip is a little bit, not much. So you go to 6th grade, there's a 6th grade language arts comparison. Here's 7th. Here's 8th grade, so he takes you right on through, and then you can see how we do in, again, the same cohort of 6th graders going to 7th grade, you go to 8th grade, you can see how the students continue to improve and get back up by the year 2014, and then the high school language arts literacy in its comparison to the I groups. I don't know how much better we can do than Gen Ed students, 99.7 proficiency. Now again, this is telling us proficiency. Students have hit proficiency. Okay, they could be advanced, they could be good. It doesn't talk about individual growth. Supposedly, if you compare to PARC, PARC is really measuring student growth from year to year. Okay, you can still be proficient, but did you go down in your proficiency rating? Well, that we want to know about students. And we're looking at it, we've been looking at it for years here. But now it comes out in state tests, and that's the biggest difference between the New Jersey ASK, HESPA, and now the PARC, and the course as well. Okay, so if you have that in literacy, we want to match in mathematics, so you have a couple of slides that you could read about what the budget is supporting or continues to support mathematics. And then I'll go through this quickly, but you have the same slides. Let's look for evidence. It's easy for somebody to stand and say, we're doing great. What does that mean? It's like me going in and observing a teacher. Oh, you did great. Well, what does that mean? Natalie and I were just talking about that, right? You got to define it. What is great? What do you mean by that? What's the evidence? Why do you say that? Well, this is evidence. You go through all of these slides, and you can see in math, grade 5, and we are in red again. You can see our grouping. There's the cohorts. When you have time, you can look at that. There's grade 6 math, General Ed, 98.5. There's grade 7. There's grade 8. And there they are as a cohort moving, 6, 7, and 8 in the math on the right side and 2 on the right side. Okay? So you can see it gets a little harder with the Common Core. And now you have the high school math and how well did we do against the I grouping. So that's a very good comparison for us, because we don't want to compare ourselves to groups like kind. We'd rather compare ourselves to groups that, quote, are better performers from the state comments. Okay, so now we get into the rest. There's science. So you have some slides in here you can read on science. And then we'll take a look at how do we fare in our science. So this is grade 4, New Jersey S Science. And we're not doing that bad against the I grouping at all. General Ed, we're up here at 97.3. Our special ed is 86.9. Our black population is 100%. And Hispanic is 90.6. So not bad. And we're working on this. Is something which asked Mr. Dorso to join us on Monday. He's going to give a little talk about what are we doing to prepare for to improve our science program. Here's 8th grade science. All right, so you can see that. Now this is pretty interesting, and I give a lot of credit to Mr. Dorso and obviously Natalie working with him, but the science teachers. In 213, when we were really concerned about things, you can see how we, Fair Lawn, compared to the DFG, like us, and the state. And in 1 year, turning around, look at the performance that we have. So it's a tremendous turnaround of performance in 1 year. So I think we've got the right guy heading up the science team. Social studies is here again. We have so many things going on in social studies, so you'll see that. ESL World Language. Again, thank you supervisors, because they're the experts in this. Sue and Liliana. Symphonic Band, Career Education, which you'll hear more of on Monday night at the education meeting. Professional development, I think we're doing great PD in this district. Teachers are very fortunate, I think, coming in here. They not only get a 4-day introduction to Fair Lawn, but it's all year, the first year, and then we have a 4-year program for them rather than the mandated 1 year. So we're doing quite well. And Natalie came up with a great idea, shared it with the subject supervisors. Everybody jumped on it. And for our PD day coming up later this year, we're having teachers from inside running workshops and giving presentations on things. So we're going to be utilizing our own people. And they will get rewarded, obviously, with their hours, their professional hours. So it's a win-win situation. All right, so that's all prevent. Now, another big section is special education. If you look at this, we are now at 17.9% of Fair Lawn. We have our classified students. Compared to some of the other districts. The big difference here is Northern Valley is a regional, they're higher, but that's 11 towns. Pascack Valley is a regional, multiple towns, what, 4, 3? 4.
No, Pascack Valley is 4.
4 towns. You know, so as you're looking, Teaneck has always been a large special ed population. So, you know, we're looking and comparing ourselves that way and saying, okay, you know, where do we fit? You don't want to be higher than 18%, so we were lucky this year. It just worked out that we were 17.9, but it's a large number. In the presentation, you can look at all the programs and classes that we offer. All right, they're here for all our students and what schools they're in. So it goes on, you can see that. The personnel under special ed, we have a half-time resource room, which I mentioned earlier. I just want to shove it back into the category. So you have that. This is a visual of what we spend in our budget. Here's that budget again. This is the current expense total part of the budget. Look, you can see the wedge kind of shooting out. That's what we spend. 29% of the budget is spent in special education. Very costly programs that we do have. And then it breaks out into transportation, certificate, non-certificated people. So if you want to study, you know, cost effectiveness, we have the data to do that. So, right, a lot of information, right? A lot of information.
You have to find a new one.
It is a new one.
Does
That
that
is,
do it for me?
yeah, that's my ex-secretary.
Oh.
But there's more, okay. Okay, so the athletic budget, we have, very quickly, it talks about what you offer in the athletic for the 27 sanctioned sports on down. Co-curricular, got 73 total clubs, 50 are paid for, 23 volunteers, 53 clubs at the middle school. Buildings and grounds section, if you're interested, you go right in here, you can see all the budget line items for how we run the buildings and grounds. Capital projects, paving, windows, grounds vehicle, and a high school tennis court, which is in the budget. Lightings, sensors, windows, these are cost savings, which is sort of a little sliver in the pie, so we're trying to make sure we control the energy. In the technology area, let me pause on this slide, very important, and again, thank you for the support of the board. We are positioned better than most. We have, in the technology side, we have somebody that specializes in New Jersey Smart, and a number of other things, not only New Jersey Smart, but also backs up in Park, so you have a backup. We have a Google expert, we have Park and DLM testing, OASIS experts. We have training for Park and Strong, that's Natalie's office, or I should say it's Natalie. So we have the people now positioned, and I believe it's because of this and the support, we had a very good year in Park. As much as all of the politicalness going on and parents pulling out all over the place and opting out, we handled it very, very well in this district. So, and these folks are very important to us. And then it goes through the budget that it talks about our technology and staffing and maintenance, and here's all the different software packages and the networking and the email costs and so forth, so you have numbers in that. It talks about our proposed technology plan and how much we're looking to spend in the plan, $341,000. Now we go into transportation. This is the part most people don't know, that we have 41 schools a day that we transport kids to. 41 schools. Buses are all over the place, in Bergen County and outside. We have 17 students that go to Bergen Tech. In Paramus, 39 students in the academy, 66 going on a bus, 66 subscription busing. That's a big number every year. Non-public transportation, 128 students. Maybe if they all decided to go to Fair Lawn schools, where would we put them? We don't have the room. ESL students, Kiko busing. So we do an awful lot of transportation. This is what it looks like, Gated Blue Up. We have $223,000 budgeted. That's for the private parochial school students that don't get a bus route, so we have to give them an allotment by law. So there's different remedies here, how to solve the transportation problems or challenges. Special education, CTSA, that's what we spend, $1.7 million in special ed transportation. $1.7 million special ed transportation. Okay? Band and athletics, $172,000 for the band and athletics transportation. And obviously in our maintenance vehicles, et cetera, we budget $183,000. So the budget is $2.7 million just for transportation alone. So you can see if we have a cap of 2%, how do you do all of this? It's very difficult. It's not easy. This is the greatest slide. I love to end the presentation with these slides. This is all the schools, all the four-year schools and colleges, universities that our 2014 graduates were accepted to. And you can take a look at them. A couple of them starting right at the top from Barnard and Baruch College, Boston, Brandeis, Carnegie Mellon, College of New Jersey, Southern Maryland, Columbia University, Cornell University, Drexel. Over here, you've got FDU, Fordham. By the way, did I know what Fordham cost? I was shocked.
Yes.
It's about $60,000.
$62,000
to go to Fordham.
Yes.
Go to the Bronx.
You put it that way. Bruce, believe it or not, NYU used to be one of the highest.
Yeah.
NYU has fallen down to almost a quarter way down of half of these colleges now.
It's unbelievable.
My daughter happened to pick NYU for them, like four of the most expensive schools. Thank God she's up there around Manhattan.
But if you look at the list, I mean, we've got students who go to Harvard, Indiana University, Manhattan College, Michigan State, Here, look at this. Goes on, Millersville, Montclair State, Muhlenberg, NYU, there it is, Ron, NYU, Ohio State University, Penn State University, DeSaint County, Quinnipiac, which is a popular one, Rhode Island, Rutgers, obviously, full of SUNY, Syracuse, Temple, University of Delaware, Minnesota, ends up with Maryland, Rhode Island, Villanova, William Patterson, Yale University. That is some accomplishment for any district, And that ends the presentation. Now, Mary.
I think even though I don't want.
I am done except for one comment. I think this board, in my opinion, whether it holds any water or not, I don't know sometimes, but I would hope the board feels very, very proud that you have an administrative staff that is so supportive that they all come out of the meeting loud. I've been in districts where administrators don't even go to board meetings, they don't even show up. And to come out in support of the board, and by the way, it was not an order. I don't want people to think I order people to do this. I do not. Some people can't come, and it's perfectly fine. But to get an administrative staff to come out in support of your budget, I think is a compliment, not only to them, but to the board. So,
Move on to our agenda report. Elise, would you like to read S1, please?
Retirement of Joseph Tedeschi. Whereas Mr. Joseph Tedeschi, a dedicated administrator as director of the Fairlawn Community School since 1996, has requested retirement at the end of the day on July 31st, 2015. And whereas Mr. Tedeschi, during his years of service and leadership, did encourage educational and financial aspirations by providing a diversity of academic, non-academic course selection, resulting in a successful program for children, adult education in Fairlawn. And whereas Mr. Tedeschi was responsible for various children's activities, camps, enrichment programs, before care and after care programs, kindergarten extended care option program, as well as implementing a copy center and central registration process, resulting in a significant savings to the district. Therefore, be it resolved that the Fairlawn Board of Education hereby acknowledges the services of an innovative administrator who has displayed a positive influence in the field of adult, community, and continuing education, and who has won the respect and esteem of colleagues, students, teachers, and the Fairlawn community, and wishes for him many happy and healthy years in retirement. And be it further resolved that the Secretary to the Board of Education be directed to spread this resolution in full upon the minutes, and that the Superintendent of Schools present a copy of this resolution to Mr. Joseph Tedeschi.
We have a motion to approve S1.
So moved.
Second.
Comments from the board? Mark?
Kind of sad in seeing Mr. Tedeschi leave from his service to the Board of Ed. I've been a member of the Community School Board for probably about 8-9 years, and I've served as a liaison from this board while I've been a member of the Board of Ed. And during that period of time, I've seen him take the community school from where it was and expand it tremendously, not only in course offerings, but also in the revenue that we take in from the community school, which is given back to the Board of Ed, and also in all the youth programs that he has running during the periods of time when the Board of Ed is on vacation, as well as all the summer programs that he's been running. And it's only because of his intuitiveness and his courage to reach out and try new things that this has been developed. So I want to wish him the best of luck on his retirement for many, many years to come.
Thank you, Mike.
I echo everything that Mark said. I think that the people of Farallon, where they certainly know Mr. Tedeschi, I think the people of Farallon do not realize how much goes through that community school, and and a lot of it is stuff that Joe developed, that Joe developed. Even as simple as the copy center, that saves a tremendous amount of money for the board, and I think it also helps the teachers too, that they don't have to worry about that. So I wish him the best in retirement, and I think that's going to be it's going to be another hard position to fill.
Mary?
I know that Fairlawn really has a tremendous community school. If you look at some of the community offerings in many other towns, in Bergen, Passaic, northern New Jersey, Fairlawn offers such an array through the work of Joe. And we really do owe him a great big thank you. One thing that wasn't mentioned in the resolution, which we should just mention, I think briefly, is that Joe was served on the Board of Education. So he has served the town in many, many, many capacities. On the council, he served the community. He served the community through the community school by serving on the Board of Education. He's an interesting, colorful person to know, and I've always enjoyed Joe. He's an experience, and it's a lot of fun. And I do wish him a wonderful time in retirement. He's worked very hard for it.
Bruce remembers, he was the business administrator back then, and previous director was let go. And it was at one point, there was a question whether we're gonna keep the community school or not. And Bruce said, let's go ahead and see what we can do with it with a new director. And we went through the applications and we did the interviews, and Joe just stood out, just a very dynamic guy, had a great personality. And he took the community school, which Mark said, financially they were not doing well. They were drained. And through the years, he's built it up to something that is really unique as far as community schools go. It's not just giving courses and book, basket weaving, the book club and things like that, but he runs so much through his office, the copying, the camps, the everything. And his connections in town have helped us tremendously. He knows everybody. You can walk any, it's Joe Tedeschi, everybody knows Joe. And he's a very dynamic, I can get this done kind of guy. And we're gonna miss that. We're gonna miss that dynamic personality, and he's gonna be tough to fill his shoes, but he wants to retire, I guess we'll let him. And I wish him the best of luck, and hope to see him around.
Elise?
I just agree with what everybody says, and I was going to say something like what Jean said, but he's just amazing in a sense that some of the things that people mentioned were really ideas that were just thrown out in conversations when we used to have like a meeting, like a work session. Somebody would say, well, we should run a camp, or we should do this, and once he became to that position, he just would take that and figure out how to do it. And I think that's where his true talent lies, because the copy center idea, I believe, actually came from the central office, and he was able to put it together so that it worked like unbelievably well, and it's still there today. And I was also on the community school board, and this year they started the band, which had like the town band. Like he just had a lot of, somebody would just come out in the conversation and say something, and he would just grab that and run with it and figure out a way to do it. And you need somebody like that to do a position like this, and that's really where his strength lies.
No one else go?
Yes.
No, what we all just forgot to mention was the thing that saves the town, the people of this town, a lot of money in itself, and that's the central registration, and the fact that when people are, when we find out that people are here illegally, or going to our schools illegally, he's the one that takes the thing, so I think that's really important.
Thank you, Mike. I'm gonna go.
Sure.
Any comments from the public on S1? Seeing none, Bruce?
Okay. I think you summed it up great. I'd just like to add a couple of things about Joe. I've known him a long time. And I will tell you that Joe has had a lot of success because of a lot of good people working with him as well. He brings a leadership skill, but he worked with the board well. He works side by side, which most people don't know. He works side by side with Joanne Wilson in her office to make sure these things get completed and carried out. And how we in the central office, meaning Joanne on the business side, supports him. I've always been impressed. Joe has always, I've never heard no out of his mouth. When he and I would sit down and talk, he never ever said no to me. Never. In all the years I've known him, he said, okay, Bruce, okay, you got it. I'll look in, I'll do it. And the thing I'm impressed with, if I have to put a label on a human being, I would say business acumen. I think that describes him. He's got that talent. And he has really been an asset for this district. And I've had a very nice relationship with Mr. Tedeschi, and I wish him the very best in his retirement.
On behalf of the Board of Education, we wish him many, many years of healthy retirement years, enjoyable. Can I take a vote on S1? Roll call. Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel?
Yes.
Mrs. Piella?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Quattro?
Yes. Okay, we're gonna move on to the agenda. I'm gonna go through every item since we don't have an exceptionally large agenda. S2, payment authorization for superintendent's merit. S3, payment authorization for superintendent's merit. S4
I forgot the title.
is payment authorization for superintendent's merit. S5, approval to purchase real-time information technology. P1, approval of change in assignment certificated personnel, 15-16 school year. P2, approval of appointment of certificated personnel. P3, approval of leave of absence without pay, non-certificated personnel, 2014-15 school year. F1, approval of proposed 2015-2016 school budget. F2, resolution awarding bid for replacement of windows at Edison School. F3, resolution awarding bid for roof replacement at Warren Point School. F4, resolution awarding bid for roof replacement at Westmoreland School. F5, resolution awarding bid for roof replacement at Thomas Jefferson School. F6, resolution rejecting the bid for the replacement of windows at Radburn Elementary School. F7, resolution awarding construction management services contract for Westmoreland School. May I have a motion to approve S2 through F7?
So moved. Second.
Comments from the board? Mark?
I want to thank all those who were involved, especially the central office and all, on F1, the proposed school budget. I know it took you many, many hours, days, months in order to put the budget together. But what I'm most happy about is that it's with an increase that I don't believe any of the taxpayers are going to make a stink about. It's a realistic amount that's going to keep our school functional for the next year. So I'm very pleased to see this, and I want to thank all of you who worked on this.
Just on F1, thank you, Bruce, for the great presentation.
For the speed.
I didn't say that. And it isn't what I meant. What I like about this budget is it puts us in place to realize this board's dream of having full-day kindergarten And, you know, we've had a lot of discussion on it. We've had in the previous budget meetings this year, we've talked about exactly how that was going to be able to occur. And I think that barring some disaster, that it's finally going to become a reality. And thank you for creating that budget that makes it able to do that, you know, next year.
Jeff?
I'd like to also extend my gratitude to the administration, to Mr. Watson, especially with regard to the path we have towards a full-day kindergarten. I have to say, I'm quite elated that this seems as if it's coming into fruition. The next thing I want to say, I did prepare a statement with regard to the budget, but I need to make a disclaimer that in no way, shape, or form does this have to do with any particular administrator or even really the administration at all. It has to do with actually the Board of Education. So I'll read it. If anyone wants a copy of it, I'll give it to you. So please pardon anything if it feels pedantic to you. I apologize. So as a board member, I feel compelled to make the statement. Every society is good at what it does, and that is dictated by how it chooses to spend its money. Reasonable economics require that priorities, not money, are the basis of discussion. The question also extends to how we as a board provide equity and make sure our priorities are thoughtful and equitable. Our budget is a doctrine of our priorities. Although I will explain one of my disagreements, I will vote yes because schools must be financially supported. To complete this preface, please understand that I am not against any particular athletic program. In fact, this argument clearly suggests that no team loses out on any current funding. Over the past years, we have spent about $1 million in capital improvement for athletics, but none for our elementary science programs. With the new Stein standards looming and the absolute knowledge that students should experience learning through laboratory experiments, acquiring such equipment for our youngest and most impressionable minds is mandatory. Furthermore, it is tantamount to give our teachers every avenue to engage all learners in the sciences. I agree that we experience great success among some high schoolers in their competitions, AP classes, and the like. This argument embraces that and seeks to encourage more of that success. It is about equity as well as progress. Consider that only our smallest elementary school has a science lab. No other elementary student experiences science. Their science education is by definition unpractical. Yet a bigger picture for the responsibility for leadership exists, and that is to make a greater commitment to science education, not just to begin producing more American scientists than we import, but also to stimulate minds and produce excellent problem solvers. The progress of our community, state, and country is a shared responsibility. It begins with us, Fair Lawn School leadership. What does our doctrine represent? With this particular issue, I bring up represent progress, and do we want to engage young scientific minds, or is it the status quo? Will we as a board go beyond our initial thoughts and deeply ponder the bigger picture and the greater needs of our community and country? This may pivot to what the budget and the money we do spend on science. It may go in that direction, and yes, I agree, for the most part, that money is very well spent. What I'm asking does not require any increase in the budget, just a shift, so all students may engage in the joy of experienced science. I look forward to a healthy conversation. Thank you for listening. And please, I need to repeat, this is certainly in no way a representation of how I feel about an individual or the administration. It's how I feel about a particular budget line that I think is misplaced and should have a different trajectory towards our science education for all students. I do believe we already have 4 tennis courts. I know 5 would be beneficial, but I think putting that money towards early science education is definitely and exponentially more beneficial. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Ron?
2 things. I too want to thank the central office. It's a job I would never want to do. I belong to organizations with budgets way smaller than yours that are a nightmare. So I do commend you for everything you've done for this district. I also want to comment on F7. I'm fortunate to be part of that committee, and I feel very, very confident in this company that's going to help lead us through our expansion on Westmoreland School. They were very, very impressive. On the ball, they had their presentation was extraordinary. Being in the field, I did happen to read all the proposals, yes, and they were very, very thick. So that's what I did one weekend. But I do want to say that I feel very confident going forward that they're going to lead us in the right direction of the construction of the Westmoreland School expansion.
Thank you. I just wanted to make one comment before we go to the public for the agenda item on F1, and also would like to echo my thanks to the administration for their hard work. You know, living in Fair Lawn, you get a really wonderful bang for your buck as far as what our taxes are and for what we can afford to provide for the students of Fair Lawn. I think it's a total win-win. When you hear people, wherever I go, you live in Fair Lawn, I happen to serve on the Board of Ed. Oh man, that district is so good. I talked to a teacher the other day. When I told her I was from Fair Lawn, she said, that is my dream job. Everybody wants to come to Fair Lawn. There's got to be a reason. People are moving into Fair Lawn because of what we provide for our children. And I think the tax base, I agree with Mark. I don't see too many people complaining. It goes up, yes, but everything that we have crammed into this budget and the vision of where we're going in the future, I think is extremely important. And I just want to thank the administration for all of their hard work in providing us with the opportunity to sit in committee, to hear the individual areas, to be able to expand, you know, and ask questions. I learned a tremendous amount about the transportation area, which I didn't realize all of the goings on, and kudos to that department. My God, what they have to go through, it's amazing, and to pull it together every day is amazing. I learned so much in that presentation, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to sit in it and to ask the questions that maybe we wouldn't ask publicly, but you know, in a smaller group session, and to sit with the people who actually provide the services was really good. So I just wanted to thank the administration for that. And I'm going to go to the public for any comments on the agenda items. Seeing none, roll call. Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Mrs. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Piella?
Yes.
Mr. Stendel?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes. Okay, moving on to public comments. I'd like to open up the agenda for public comments on anything you wish to speak about. See any? No public comments. We're going to move on to old business. New business. We're all set. All of our meetings are
Any
set.
word from the town as far as shared service?
Oh, Jimmy then. Okay, go on.
I don't know if this is old, just want to let everybody know that our sewer project's going to be started this weekend. So hopefully we should be done in 3-4 days, and it's getting well in on the budget, and hopefully everything works well, and water will be flowing properly.
I just wanted to remind the board of the change in venue for the board retreat this week. It's not being held at the high school, it's going to be held right here in our boardroom, 8:30 in the morning, and Al from New Jersey School Boards will be guiding us through the retreat.
Johnny's cooking breakfast.
Jeff?
I'm going on a tech tour of the district next week, the week the 11th. If any board member does require or does feel they want any specific information, I'm happy to relay those questions and get back to you. at your convenience, so please let me know what it is you're curious about or any of the intentions you have, and happy to bring those forward.
I also wanted to just make mention that Thursday, May 7th, it's Special Education Week, and Flace is holding a tea at 3:15 right here in room 9, and that's Thursday, May 7th, if any of the board members can make it. I'm going to try extremely hard to make it, but 3:15 is a little rough for me, but I'm going to try.
I think some,
Is it too late for a public comment?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. I want to thank the board for, this Wednesday is going to be Walk and Bike of Joan Goldstein, 12 Bedford Place. I want to thank the board, this Wednesday is going to be Walk and Bike to School Day. So if you're, I realize most people in the room are already at school. If you know people who have kids and they're going to school, there's a nice program, you know, Hooray for Helmets is being launched, all kinds of other things. Mr. Durso has more details and there's a flyer, so thank you.
Thank you.
It was just put out on the Fairlawn Schools app.
It's a New Jersey-wide thing that we're participating in. I think, a lot of the bike stuff that goes on around town is going to be launched.
Very good, thank you for sharing that. I'd like to make a motion to recess into closed session.
So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
yeah, recess.
Yes, we're going to take a recess.
I didn't.